May, so like 11 months ago, which is crazy. I was sitting in gym class and I turned to my friend Annie and I said, someone has to do something about this. Because everyone, like it's in every paper, every social media that someone was having trouble or someone had committed suicide. Sorry. No, this is just crazy. So I came to Alive and they took the idea on right away and they just went with it. And I want to say thank you to everyone here and everyone at Alive and Jules and all my ambassadors and my family. This couldn't have happened without you, especially not Jules. It definitely would not. No. So, and I want to thank all of you for being here, even though it's like freezing. Like, what? It's April. Remember when springtime was a concept? It was fun. So, because we need to make a change in this community, and just being here is taking a step towards that. Everyone struggles, and that's human. There's nothing wrong with you for seeking help. Oh my God, there's nothing wrong with you for going to talk to someone, or for calling the lifeline, or for texting the crisis line. And you should not be ashamed, because anxiety makes you human, and we are all people. Sorry, this is like so surreal. But I've been on both sides. I've had a family member commit suicide, and I've been suicidal myself. And something that my mom always told me was that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's always there, no matter what. But some days it's farther away, and some days it's really close. Like today, it's like right, like there. So like I literally envision I'm in a tunnel and there's a light at the end of it. And the worst thing in the world is when it goes out. But because of object permanence, just because you can't see or perceive something doesn't mean it no longer exists. It's just a little farther away and you have to work to get to it. It took me a long time to get there, and I'm still working on it, but I'm gonna get there and I'm not gonna give up. Because I'm not alone, and neither are you. I mean, look. It feels like it, but you're not. Like, there's a part of your brain that's gonna tell you you are, but I promise you, you're not. You have Alive. Come here. Like, this is so cool. Like, look at this place. It's open during the week. So anyway, thank you all for coming. I'm sorry I'm like a sobbing baby up here. But we worked really hard on this, and hopefully it becomes annual and we can walk for life forever. And I just want to tell everyone that we are having mental health screenings here by Evolution Counseling. And it's confidential and free. It's fantastic. And then we also, okay, sorry, this is like random, but if you bought a shirt and didn't get it, you can go pick it up in the art room. Or if you want a shirt, you can go buy one in the art room. So, and they're really cool. I want to also thank Alyssa Owl for making these awesome logos. Like, come on. I wish I could do art. Okay, anyway, I'm rambling. So I want to introduce Jennifer, the owner of Evolution Counseling, and she's like a fantastic lady who is gonna talk to you guys. She's like amazing. Like, she's just
wow, I feel like my life is right here, right now too, and I just got chills. So thank you, Angela. And I would like to say that I'm so inspired. I'm sorry, I'm not good with microphones. I wanted to say thank you to Angela for following through on this vision and how important it is in this community, and how inspired I am by the young people at the Alive Center who are continuously doing things to make change and make their voices heard. And I think we can all agree that that is something that we don't always make space for that. We don't always make space for young people to talk and to share their stories and to talk about what's happened in this community. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I chose to be a part of this great event, is that it's very personal for me. And it's professional as well, but it's also very personal for me. I have always struggled my entire life with some form of mental health something. I was anxious from the day I was born. Anyone can tell you. I didn't know that. When I got diagnosed, I was actually offended. I was like, that's not possible. And my best friend from college said, have you ever met yourself? Obviously not. I have always struggled with ADHD, which was invisible to me because it wasn't even diagnosed until I was 45 years old. And I have struggled with depression. I've also gone to school. I've also been online, and I found myself getting sucked up in this message about suicide that just seems to be just regurgitated over and over again, which says it's about depression. It's always about depression. So I'm going to use my time here today to tell you exactly what it is that contributes to this for young people. This became personal for me in January of 2017 when my son's teammate and friend passed. And from that moment, I started looking at everything we tell teenagers about suicide. And I was annoyed by what was missing, about what has not been shared. The first thing is something actually that Angela brought up, which is mental health is everyone's health. If you are human, and I think everybody in here is human. I did see a couple of dogs, so maybe not for the dogs. If you are human, if you are raised by humans, and if you interact with humans, you're going to have a mental health issue at some point in your life. So when we say the mentally ill, we other. And this is something that affects every single person here. You've all been getting sent to the pediatrician for well checks every year of your life. But nobody is checking in on your mental wellness. So please know that yes, being upset and stressed out about issues in your friend group, yes, that creates mental unwellness. Yes, worrying about the pressures to compete and perform in school, yes, that contributes to mental unwellness. So you don't have to be mentally ill to be at risk, okay? If you are under the age of 18, you all still have a developing brain. Now I know your developing brain thinks you know a lot, and that is fine. And it's built to do amazing things while it is being developed. But it also has two very specific things going on in it that makes anyone in this age group a potential risk for suicidality. The first one is called impulsivity. Now, I'm not saying this like, oh, you're so impulsive. No, your brain is literally wired to be that way. It's called novelty seeking. It's what helps you look at things in the world in a different way. It helps fuel creativity. It also helps you to make those decisions in the moment that sound really good in the moment, but really aren't good in the moment. Basically, everything that I'm glad was not documented on social media when I was in high school was driven by impulsivity, okay? There's something else that's going on in your brain because your dopamine is higher than it is as an adult, and your emotional center is very, very uplifted. You're very aroused at your age, and it's called hyper-rationality. It's what allows a teenage person to make very, very strong, smart, and deliberate plans to do something absolutely asinine, right? Well, I thought about it, and I thought it would be a great idea to bring a 12-pack of beer to school because here, listen to all the positive possible benefits. And you create a plan, and you hatch that plan, and the next thing you know, you do it. You don't realize what the outcomes are going to be. You're so focused on the task that you lose the context of how it looks in the big picture. So if you think about those two things in your brain, and now let's add something. Let's add a situation. Okay, let's add a situation where you're in a disciplinary situation, or your friends have completely kicked you out of the group. and it makes you feel like there's nothing you can do, and it makes you feel like it's the worst thing ever. And you also think it's possibly your fault. You put that together with what's going on in the teenage brain, and any person in that situation is at risk. Anyone. Now, if you add to that you're already struggling with anxiety, you're already struggling with self-esteem, you're already struggling with depression, now that even intensifies it. And if you are in the LGBTQIA community, now it's 4 times as likely. So when you look at things this way, here's what I'm going to say to you. It's not something that only happens to other people. It can happen to any one of us. And being someone who has been in the throes of depression, who is generally a happy person and loves life, I couldn't believe how quickly my head went there. The other thing I want to let you guys know is this. Your teen years are designed for you to fail. Did you hear that? I said the F word. Fail. You are not supposed to be perfect. You are supposed to be growing. So when you get into that space and you feel like something that has happened is never going to be recoverable, let me be clear. You won't believe the amount of things a person can recover from. You just need one person to remind you of that. Lastly, and I'm going to say this and then invite someone up to say a few words who can talk about this more, is you need to understand your rights at school. Disciplinary issues plus the teenage brain are one of the biggest triggers for suicide in teens. This is where it got personal for us. I'm happy to say that I have been blessed, my practice has been blessed, to work with Corey's Goal and to get to know the directors, Doug and Maureen Walgren. And I'd like to invite Maureen up here to share just a little bit about her story and to let you know what's available for all of you teens out there that I want to make sure you grab before you leave. Please don't forget, the screenings are confidential and it's worth it. You can always work with more when you know. Maureen?
Thank you, Jen, my good friend. My name is Maureen Walgren. I'm here today with my husband, Doug, and our son, Corey, lost his life by suicide on January 11, 2017. He had been in a disciplinary situation at school. It was unexpected for him, it was unexpected for us, and he didn't know what to do. He was scared, he was shamed, and he was intimidated that day. And he left school and he took his own life. If you are one of the few people in the room that hasn't heard our story, you can read about it on our website. There's a link to a Chicago Tribune article that we did in May of last year that details our story. Corey's situation was impulsive. I've learned the term impulsive suicide. When people hear about suicide, they automatically think he must have had mental health issues. It was probably only a matter of time anyway. These are things we've actually heard people say since our son died. Impulsive suicide can happen to anybody with this undeveloped teenage brain if they're put in a scary situation where they feel they have no out. My husband and I formed Corey's Goal, a charity in honor of our son, in September of last year. Our mission is twofold. One is to honor Corey and his love of hockey by offering a scholarship. We did give away a $2,500 scholarship to a graduating senior this year on the hockey team. Our second part of the mission is to educate students, parents, and administrators on the civil rights of kids in schools and how to better protect the mental health of students that are in a serious disciplinary situation. The t-shirt I'm wearing today has a message for students on the back, and our message for students is ask for help, number one. What that means is if you are in a situation and you don't know what to do, you're being intimidated, and adults can do this too, adults can bully. If If you're being intimidated, bullied, you're scared, you can ask for help. Ask to have your parent present. Ask to have the social worker present. There are resources at the school to help you, and you can ask for that help. The second part is, what's my second message, Jen?
Protect yourself.
Protect yourself. Corey had some things on his phone he shouldn't have. I'm guessing there's a lot of teenagers that have things on their phone they shouldn't have. He knew it was wrong. That was part of the shame that he felt when he was caught. If you have something on your phone, in your backpack, in your locker, in your pocket that you know you shouldn't have, get rid of it. Protect yourself. Social media, the internet, Instagram, Snapchat, all those things that are so accessible to teenagers today can get you in trouble if you're doing something that you know you shouldn't be doing. And people will find out about it. So it's going to harm a lot of people. Just get rid of it. Protect yourself by not having it on your phone in the first place. And then the last message is that we understand. We're your parents. There's nothing you could do that will surprise us to the point where we don't want you here. We love you. And if you don't have a parent you can go to, we're here. Go to our website. We have our phone numbers on the website. You can text me, you can call me, you can email me. There are people out there that can help you. So we do understand. We were teenagers once, and I know it was in a different age and a different time, but teenagers make mistakes. We expect it. We know what's going to happen. So please know that we understand. Please stop by our booth if you haven't had a chance yet to get our brochure on knowing your rights, so that you know what you can, what you don't have to say to school resource officers and administrators. We want you to always be cooperative, but you don't have to hand over your cell phone password and give them access to everything without your parents present. So, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Maureen, for sharing that. Okay, I'm going to leave you with 3 things. Number 1, for the adults in this room, I'm asked all the time, what can I do for my child? Listen. 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 Okay? And be the parent that you needed at that age. Okay? For all the teens in here, I'm going to give you 2 things. Okay? Number 1, as much as you all think therapy is weird, I'm going to do my public service announcement for therapy. It's the only place in the whole wide world where you can be in a room where it's all about you and you're going to be heard and no one will ever find out what you say. And yes, that also includes parents, unless you tell us that you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else, or if you've committed a crime. So for those of you who are going through life stresses, use this tool. And number 3, if you are feeling in a moment that you don't know what to do and everything in life feels overwhelming, it takes 5 seconds to text. And that's why we are so thrilled that there is a Naperville text line for crisis. And all you have to do is text REACH, R-E-A-C-H, to 714-714. So, anything else you'd like to chat about? We'll be right out here. But now, I would like to say that just like so many of you, who in a time where there's so many negatives going around, find positive ways to make a difference, I'm pleased to introduce our next performer, and her name is